Alright, this is going to be a little bit of a early review, as in just got this thing going and driving a couple weeks ago. So this is a 81 Amc Eagle SX4, which is the short wheelbase, lift back coupe, and well, it's not short wheelbase anymore, but we'll get to that. So I started building this car. I had an idea for using Generation 3 Mitsubishi Montero subframes, diffs, axles, steering, all of that stuff, suspension arms and everything for quite a while, and I just wasn't sure what body to put it under. And I came on the Eagle SX4 and I really liked it. Blown engine. It had a 4-cylinder Iron Duke GM engine in it from the factory, and it was a 4-speed manual. So I just kind of added to that and did a whole GM V8, not just half of a GM V8 like the Iron Duke was. So this is a LM4 5.3 liter aluminum block 5.3 LS based engine. I have upgraded cam, valve springs, push rods, just some kind of like, you know, standard LS upgrade stuff. Still working on tuning, but I'm running Ace's EFI Jackpot, and it's the Jackpot Pro LS setup. So that was super simple. It's a standalone harness, standalone ECU with its own 5-inch handheld. I'll show you that. And like I said, running Generation 3 Mitsubishi Montero subframes, suspension arms, sway bars, diffs, steering, CV axles, all that stuff. Brakes, that's all Gen 3 Montero. Independent front, independent rear, which looks pretty wild. Just seeing that. Doesn't quite look right, but I like it. The back end is not quite finished yet. This is kind of a temporary just hitch bumper. It's gonna have a kind of matching stainless bumper to the front. So this is a stainless winch bumper I made for the front. Got the lights mounted up, the winch on there, running an Apex 5500 Badland with the 50-foot long drum synthetic line. That's been good so far. May end up upgrading to a 8,000 or 9,000 pound winch, but I'll have to modify the bumper to do that. So let's check out the engine bay. So this is my daily driver. So that was kind of the intention behind making something that's really off-road capable, but also handles like a car. So it kind of worked out nicely with the Gen 3 Montero stuff. It handles really well on the road. It does a little bit of the pre-runner lean kind of, but plenty of suspension travel off-road, and it's been really good. I'm on 33-inch KO2s currently. I'm going to be looking to go up to probably a 35 or 37 here pretty soon. Not sure what tire I'm going to go with. In the engine bay, I started playing around with some different type of stuff on this build that I haven't messed with too much before. But we have a pretty standard Griffin aluminum radiator here. Then 5.3 aluminum block LS. I wanted the aluminum block to keep the weight low. I stretched the wheelbase 12 inches, so 6 inches forward on the front and 6 inches back on the rear. That kept the Montero wheelbase the same. So all of that suspension geometry and everything, no weirdness there. And then the car is basically on top of it. The benefit of that is better high-speed stability with the longer wheelbase, better approach angle, better departure angle, and I have way more tire clearance than I would have otherwise. So when I do step up to a bigger tire, this thing may end up on 40s eventually. So that's the upside there, and I think it looks cool with the stretched wheelbase. So got some stainless headers. Like I said, upgraded cam, top end, just a partially shaved truck intake, drive-by cable, and manual trans. And then here is the Ace's Jackpot. That setup, wiring harness is all kind of contained behind this heat shield. And nice thing with the Ace's stuff is it's super adaptable with the LS, so you can run a 24X, a 58X. You can run different injectors depending on what you select. You can get different sub harnesses. So, and it is self-tuning like Holley. I don't think it's quite as refined as Holley. Running truck accessories, truck water pump, all that stuff. I'm running an ICT billet high mount alternator. For now, this is a 144 amp. I'm going to be upgrading to like a 250 amp ish because I have electric 12 volt air conditioning. So that's what this condenser is here, extra fan here, and then inside the car, this is not done yet, but this is the evaporator box and heater core. So that handles heat and AC. It's all 12 volt, which is nice. Nothing driven off of the engine, but it does take about 60 amps at full open on the AC. So it does take up some power for sure. So you will need a high amp alternator. And then also another high amp output I have is a Volvo / Ford / Mazda electric over hydraulic 12 volt power steering pump. So that runs the Montero rack and pinion, and basically you just have two lines that are only a foot long, and those are running the power steering. So that's an electric pump and pumps hydraulic fluid. Otherwise, in here got bus bars, aux beam switch panel. I'm making a video on that, so look out for a full video on that. Love that setup. That runs all the lights, accessory fans, lockers, everything like that. Then separate, this is a Audi VW part, but this is a little fuse block I grabbed. So that runs some of the engine bay fuses. And then I'm running first gen Tacoma brake booster and master and clutch master cylinder. Suspension wise, it's pretty much all factory other than the fact that I'm using Dirt Logic FabTech stuff from a Gen 2 Tacoma. So front and rear, so that's a I think like a 2.5 inch. And here's the rear, and these are springs off of a Toyota Sienna actually, and the spring rate just worked out to be pretty good. But if you look in there, you can see the CVs are beefy on these. The Montero runs a 9-inch rear diff and an 8-inch front on the Gen 3, so pretty beefy stuff. I like rigged this light, it's been really solid. And you can get some upgrade parts from like Lusso Overland and stuff like that. So there is some aftermarket for the Mitsubishi stuff. Inside the car, pretty complete interior. Like I said, we're going to be running some other sort of heater ducts eventually when I get to that. I got to redo the headliner. But you'll see here, this button is 12 volt power steering. So even without the engine running, you hear the pump kick on, got power steering. So far, even off-road, that's been okay. And I do not have the controller that actually runs it at 100% output. So it just is in limp mode, running about 70% of its capability. Interior, that's the Aces 5-inch handheld. Custom dash here. Has fuel gauge here, temp gauge here, and then I have all the info I need on here. I can do speedo or RPM. Handheld has been pretty good overall. There's been a couple little glitches here and there. And then winch controller, hood release. I'm running focal 6.5 auditor speakers front and rear, and I have an 8-inch subwoofer that's going to be integrated into the side here. Mitsubishi Montero steering column and steering wheel. I'm gonna need to make a little extension on this to get it closer to me, but other than that, that's working out great. Lights are in the factory spot. Wipers are in the factory spot. Then you'll notice here, transmission looks a little different. This is a Toyota first gen Tacoma R150 5-speed, so R150F, that came out of a V6 Tacoma. And so this has a full J-shift transfer case. You have low 4, high 4, neutral, and high 2, so all your standard J-shift stuff. This is a cable that's adapted to basically the diff disconnect on the front end. So factory Montero has a diff disconnect that is vacuum driven, similar to the Toyota stuff. I changed that out to run it off a cable. So this is actually a Sienna shift cable, and that is basically in or out. That'll be on a lever in a center console eventually. A little bit more refinement. You got your electric AC and heat here. That knob, and then that's your AC. Kenwood stereo. I'm running a Kicker 5-channel amp. Made that little housing cover the aux beam panel here. You can kill the lights, cover that up so you can just drive at night and the only thing in your face is your gauges. Which is kind of nice. This also has some hidden storage. Little compartment back there. And then just your regular glove box. Ace's cable comes out there for tuning with the laptop. And only other big changes in here, I'm running a Willwood pedal assembly for a brake and clutch. And that still needs to be modified a bit to, like I said, run probably a Land Cruiser master cylinder on the clutch. And then I'll still clean up a little bit more in the wiring, but running a universal 21 circuit harness, front to rear rewired, headlights to taillights. Got boat gas pedal there, the hot foot. And one of the only other major changes here is Fox body Recaros out of a Fox body Mustang. They fit really well, the color matches. I was stoked on picking these up. Got the fishnet headrest naturally. Adjustable knee bolster, super nice. Only thing I did with these is make the mounts for them and add seat heaters. So again, these will be in the center console, but got heated seats. So that's a nice upgrade. And then I also made you can kind of see Fox mountain bike shock there. Made a little bit of a suspension seat base so this can kind of move around. Saves your back a little bit. Kind of a nice upgrade. Turned it into a 3-seater. Not that there's really room for a human back in the third seat, but in a pinch it would work. Then this seat is halved. That's where the EasyFlate compressor is going to live. The subwoofer is going to live inside this panel on the side. Amp lives there, and then any accessory power studs. So this does not have a frame because the AMC was a unibody and the Gen 3 Montero was also a unibody. So got your hatch here. I do have the SX4 spoiler, so that will be going on here. And also I'll be making some flares to kind of blend the wheelbase stretch in, so that should be a little better. You got your gas fill back here. Anybody get the reference? Custom aluminum fuel tank. I do need to extend the range of that, so I'm gonna have to make that a little bigger. And then trunk area. Did have to cut these kick panels or side panels for the suspension. Got focal auditors back here. Little USB charge port. So it's coming together. Currently I have Tepui awning and roof box on it for some extra storage, and then I also have a hitch tray that can go on the back. And right now, like I said, these are 33-inch KO2s. They are on a 16x8 0 offset Amc Super Violence. Cool wheel, 3-inch exhaust. So these are 1 1.25, 1.5 primaries into 3-inch Y pipe, and then just continues 3-inch back into flex joints, O2s, Got V-bands, catalytic converters, and then into flow effects, tube muffler there, and then oval Johnny right behind it. And that's worked out pretty good. Not bad on the highway. It's basically the same setup I've used on every other build, just with a 3-inch setup instead of 2.5. Some KC lights, some FETs, Landmaster 190s. Those are some like vintage JDM lights, which are pretty sweet. And some little pod lights here, ditch lights, and then up under here we got some rock lights. So full Broverlander build, but so far this thing rips. Like I said, working on the tuning a bit to get some more power out of it. It's just super conservative right now, but it's been doing good. I have about 4,000 miles on it so far. I've already changed the oil 3 times, fully rebuilt engine. So I am running an advanced adapters bell housing. I'll throw that out there. I haven't been that stoked with that setup, so take it with a grain of salt, but it does work now. I did have to adapt it to work with a Tacoma clutch fork and release bearing. Their custom release bearing setup that they won't give you a part number to is just not the best setup in my opinion. It's an old flat face GM style bearing and they won't give you the part number, so could have better customer service there, but overall the bell housing adapter does seem to work pretty decent. So otherwise, yeah, let me know what you guys think of this build in the comments. Love it or hate it. Anything. Yeah, let me know. It's been a fun car to build and been a fun daily so far. People seem pretty hype on it, so it's been cool. I can't wait to get the spoiler on there in the rear bumper though. It'll look way better. Anyway, yeah, let us know. I got the Yeti tumbler tip on there. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for checking it out. And then this is, well, all of this is a 2001 Mitsubishi Montero with a reverse negative jig thingy. So the Eagle is going to be fully independent suspension, independent rear, independent front, rack and pinion. This has an old man emu kit already on it. A little crusty, but working on that. And so these are 4.9 diffs in this. Going to be on 33s. These wheels and tires on the front, Amc Super Violences, and some KO2s. So this is going to beep bop under there, and I'm going to stretch the wheelbase to match. So this is probably going to be the last time this looks like this.